Welcome back to another video. Today we test a bunch of grinding methods to get a lot of money, and we get a bunch of cool equipment like the semi and max land, and we also get a bunch of new tools for some of the quests. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Since our last episode, they have added a path option. I'm actually going to choose lumberjack since most methods are better with wood. Let's select that. Now, last episode we got the sander and planker, and we got a selner. We also got a lightning core. But since the last episode, I've been looking at better ways to make money, and I think olive wood is a really good way to make money. So let's go do a run of that and see how much we make. So I'm actually going to go for the big ones. The smaller ones are not worth getting since they do not give much money. But these big ones actually give us quite a lot of money. Now, since the last update, they changed how vehicle welding works, so we cannot attach whole trees to this truck. So we used to be able to just have a little bit of the tree inside the truck, and it would carry the tree with the truck. But now you have to have most of the tree to be able to move it, which is a bit annoying, but it should not be much of an issue. Okay, so even though the stock market is down, it is at negative 8%. We still get about 17,000 from almost a full tree, which is still pretty good. You could even wait till this is up and get more, but we're not going to worry about that since we sort of need the cash now. So I just bought a new trailer. This should help us a lot in getting wood. So let's place this and do another run of olive wood. From this run, we got 33k, which is alright, I suppose, considering the market board is down, but it'll work. Let me do a few more runs of this, and I will get back to you when I can buy something. Since I've already chopped all the big trees from over here, there's actually a spot near the lighthouse where there's a bunch more trees that spawn. So let's go over there and see if there's any big ones. This tree actually has bells on it. I'm not sure what these sell for, but I will take them and we can see. I just bought the new segmenter, which is about 90,000 from the Oak Depot. I think this will make our processing system a lot faster, but we'll have to see how it works. I believe you put the logs on and this cuts it and shows you how big the pieces are that it cuts. So if I put this on here, yeah, it cuts it into a bunch of little pieces, which will definitely help with our system. Okay, so I did rejoin servers in hopes to find more bigger olive wood trees, but there was no luck. So down here there is petrified oak, which I think sells for a bit less than olive wood, but at the moment it is about the same price because of the stock market, and it is up on the stock market, making it good for us to grab a few and sell them. Okay, so I couldn't get the petrified oak. I realized it wasn't worth it because they were really annoying to put on the car and get them to anchor. But we still got the olive tree, and that should still give us a nice chunk of money. I think at the moment, the thing we need to improve on is the processor, as that takes the longest time. This, for getting the trees, is pretty good, and it should be fine for a while. The helicopter would not be much better, and it's already like 300 to 400k in the shop over there. So let's expand our property. We can already afford max land, which is pretty good. And now we can afford a... Well, we can't afford it yet, but we're gonna go get some more trees, get some money, build a bigger processor that is much faster and much easier to use. Maybe even an auto loader if we have the materials. So let me go do another run, and I will see you guys when I've got a decent amount of cash, so we can go on a spending spree and get a bunch of equipment that we need to make this unloader. Now, before we go get the rest of the other giant olive trees, there is actually one more thing that we should check before our next episode, where we will try and get some of the quests done, and including the fusion coil quest, which we need some specific items to be able to do that. So let's check if they are in stock at the classic shop. So here we are. They do have some of the items we need, which is the gravity coil and the healing coil, but they do not have the speed coil, so we will have to come back another time to get that in order to do the quest. But let's buy these. And in the meantime, they should be able to help us, since we can jump high and heal. I forgot to mention too, the items in the classic shop change every few hours, so in order to get all 3 coils, you might have to keep coming back to the classic shop every single day until you get the 3 coils. But the 3 coils are only about 8,000 each, so it is not too expensive. But let's get all these olive trees and I'll meet you back at the base. Okay, now that we've got all of those trees, I am going to process them all, and I will let you guys know how much money we get. Also, I just checked inside the classic store. It has been a few hours since we last checked, and there is, in fact, a speed coil in the shop. So, once we sell these trees, I will buy the speed coil, and I will see you guys then. That took a little while, but this is the last load. I'm hoping for maybe 500k. That would be enough to buy almost anything really. But let's get this last little bit in and see what it sells for. Olive wood is currently at $31 at -3% on the stock board, but I'm gonna sell it anyways. See how much we get. 300k. Yeah, I suppose that'll have to do. Let's go buy that speed coil at the classic shop. So I've got the Freyliner, and this will allow us to grab a lot more trees. It's got a lot of storage. And we can even apply upgrades to it. I didn't get any upgrades since I think this version is the best version for getting olive trees. So in the next episode, we will build a processing system and do some of these quests. I have all 3 coils, the fusion, healing, and speed coil. So hopefully, if we can find a meteor next episode, we will be able to get the fusion coil. And once we finish the processing system, we'll be able to make even more money. Maybe even move on to the void biome. But I do not like the void biome, that's why I've been avoiding it. I always die in the void biome, so we'll have to see then. But there is an update next week, which should bring a whole new island and a bunch of really cool things. Maybe even a new best grinding method. We'll have to see then. But until then, peace.